that you are here for week 3 and super excited about the guest speaker that we have coming on tonight as well. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and my story and give you some time management tips and things that I found work for me. And then we're going to hear from Lynn. So my name's Cammie, and a little bit about my story. I started Pampered Chef 13 years ago. I'm an executive director. Our team's about 300 consultants nationwide. I had no idea what would be in store for me with this business. I was a teacher at the time, and I started the business simply to earn free stuff and to help me meet people in my new town that I was in. I literally didn't know anybody, and I was just like, what do I have to lose? But I honestly didn't think this was going to go anywhere. I did not even think that these types of things, direct selling, even worked. So I figured, we'll try it out. So my husband was very, very skeptical. You know the engineering type. He did not want me to get into one of those pyramid schemes. He literally researched the company for 3 days before he let me sign up. So he was very skeptical. Of course, I had to prove him wrong. So I decided to try it out and see what did I have to lose. And fortunately, after my first paycheck, where I did just a few in-home parties, he really saw this was not something to be leery of. And of course, he loves the fact that I've earned 13 all expenses paid trips all over the country. That's his favorite perk. And I was working such long hours at the time. I was working, those of you teachers understand, I mean, I was a first year, second year teacher. I was working 60 to 80 hour work weeks as a teacher. And you know, it was so exhausting. I loved it, and I loved those kids, but I didn't love everything that came along with it. And I was just exhausted, and I was just really getting burnt out because the time involved and the lack of appreciation from my witch of a boss. It was terrible. So I really saw you could actually make a living doing this in just a quarter of the hours. So after 1.5 years in my business, I took the scariest plunge of my life and I quit teaching. And it was so hard. So many days going back and forth. Did I make the right choice? Did I not? My mom was not supportive at all. So that didn't help. She's like, you're throwing away your whole college degree. And I'm like, Mom, I'm not. This is just teaching in a different avenue. And so it was very hard when I didn't have that support system, but it has been amazing. So the rest, they say, is history. Since joining Pampered Chef, it's allowed me to be able to stay at home with our 5 young blessings and be my own boss and be there for my kids' activities and fit Pampered Chef around my life as a stay-at-home mom. I would have never, ever in a million years imagined I would be able to make way more than a full-time income in part-time hours with this. I love being my own boss, and that this gives me the sanity break that all moms need. So it really gives me something of my own and is fun while giving me the ability to make a 6-figure income with this. So blessed by this and just love the company. I really love the flexibility this business has had through some of these major changes in the last 13 years. We've moved states, like across the country. I've been specifically in the past couple years, you guys know I do a lot of virtual parties. I've been able to ramp up my virtual show schedule, and it's really been a blessing. So right after, I'll kind of tell you this major change in our life. But right after we decided to build our dream home, we learned instead of adding 1 baby to our family, which we thought would be baby number 4, we would be adding 2. And also that my husband's job that he had taken took a turn for the worse, and we would go through a period of 2 years with 0 income. So because of Pampered Chef, I was able to work hard, carry our family of 7 through that 2-year period only on our Pampered Chef income without losing our new home, without incurring any debt. It was super, super stressful, but we are so thankful to Pampered Chef for carrying us through that time. So with all that being said, you can imagine, since I do run a lot of virtual parties each week to sustain a 6-figure income with Pampered Chef, that I've really had to find ways to work this around my family and my business. So I know many of you have kids on the call, kids, those of you that are on the call tonight have kids, and some of you do not. Some of you work full-time, some of you do not. So I'm going to try to provide tips for everybody. So time management and having systems in place is kind of my thing. It really has to be with having a lot of little kids and working my business at the high number of shows that I do. So here's some tips. Identify your personal time wasters by logging all your activities for a week and recording them into 15-minute blocks. Decide what can be changed. The biggest time wasters, probably you guys could guess, are Facebook and TV. So those are generally not income producing activities. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy those at all, but that we probably are all guilty of getting sucked into them too much at some times. So I also always like to have a daily to-do list. So I'm a list girl. It doesn't matter if it's electronic, it doesn't matter if it's paper, but it helps me keep on track and not get distracted because I want to be able to cross it all off and complete it all. But when our family grew from 3 kids to 5 kids, and the twins were really young, I really had to realize it was okay if I didn't make it through my whole list. Life was going to go on. I was fine. And those were the first things that went on my list for the next day. So I had to realize it's just not going to happen. But life will go on. A new parent rule that I love to keep in mind if you're a new parent is every time you're up with the baby during the night, you get to take off one item from your list. Of course, like the most unimportant things for the next day. I also do a brain dump every night. So everything that I need to get done the next day, you can even divide your list into thirds. So you'd have the morning section, the afternoon, the evening. And I like to number my list in terms of importance. Here's what has to happen. So that way when I have my pockets of time, I can be on task that whole time with crossing these things off. And you could even put a $sign next to the tasks that are truly income producing that need to happen first, or you could number them. But I even really like to have it where I put when I number them, like my easiest tasks first, so I can kind of cruise through those and I feel really productive. So you could even choose to limit yourself to 6 tasks for your personal business and 6 for your family. You could do it that way. Also be cautious about choosing the involvements that work for you. I think we probably are all guilty of wanting to help too much, but positively but firmly say no to other requests that you can't do and you know you can't do well. So you could say something like, that's sure an important project and I'm flattered you thought of me, but I'm not able to help with that. Thanks so much for asking and I wish you the best of luck. Like, just be real cautious of your time. Guard your time because we all only have the same amount of time. And I like to be cautious about multitasking. Newer research indicates that it can actually not save you time. And especially when you're on the phone with somebody else, we don't want to multitask then because they're going to know that. So also grouping similar tasks. You're going to be more efficient and effective when you're doing like all your personal errands one morning a week. Or like I have my grocery pickup scheduled for one day each week. And that is like the biggest time saver. I'm not dragging all 5 kiddos into the grocery store, spending extra money, having meltdowns, like getting frustrated. Love the grocery pickup. Make all your host coaching calls the same day of the week. Set up your Facebook parties. I do my Facebook parties. I have a certain day that I set them up and I copy and paste like my coaching to each of my hosts. And I just have that certain time every week that's scheduled. When I make sure to get that done, I have my certain day where I'm confirming and just double checking with my hosts that are starting on Friday. So on Wednesdays, I confirm with them. Okay, I'm excited for our party. I'm going to send you something, a pre-party post to put on your wall. Will you put that on there tonight? If I don't hear back, I know I need to move somebody up in their place. You know, something changed and they're not having their party anymore or things like that, just to really be proactive with your time. Also, you know, in terms of your family, planning a week's meals at a time, making double portions when possible, just some little like life hacks. Anything that's causing you stress or you're finding yourself spending too much time on, find a way to simplify it. There's a way. Talk to colleagues, see what they do. I love like hearing what other people do. Take their ideas, make it work for you. So everybody is so great in this business about sharing what they do. So really like utilize your colleagues. If you see somebody doing something and they're really successful with something, ask them to share. And then I'm a queen of alarms. I know some people use like the Google Calendar for like a daily to-do list and stuff. I like to use alarms on my phone, and they're titled, and they're weekly alarms that repeat weekly. So basically, like, I'll have one like on Thursdays that'll say, like the alarm goes off and it'll say something like, oh, reminder, ask your host about the business. It'll be like, recruit host alarm. And so it'll just be a reminder for me to ask them again, just so I can, make sure to follow up with these things. And then on Monday's alarm, it'll say, because I'm usually closing my shows over the weekend and close them on Monday. So it'll say something about rebook your host. And so, or remind your host about the 3 bookings. And so that's when I'm going to send her a message like, oh my gosh, I want you to get the most from your party. Remember that free gift I offer when you have your 3 bookings? Will you reach out to a couple more people? Because you're only 2 shows away from this free gift. So basically, I'm just have these alarms that help me remember what I need to do on my virtual parties when. Also, I know that a lot of you are familiar with text replacement, but if you aren't, it's really cool. So if you just YouTube text replacement, it's really easy to do on your phone. So text replacement saves me so much time. So I like to do thank you posts on my parties. And so when I hover over their name, I can send them a message, and I do hashtag TY, which is hashtag thank you, and it autofills this whole message in that sends through Messenger for them with my recipe. And so on your phone, you can set what you want that little thing that you type in to replace. I even have it for where it's like www dot, and I type that in, and then it fills in the website up through /party/, and then I can just type in the individual host name of the party. So if somebody's asking for a link, then I can just type www, it fills in the whole thing, and I just type in the host first and last name, because that's what I do with my host links. So it just saves you so much time. I have a text replacement for when somebody books a party. Here's what to do next. And so like it just fills in the whole thing about what I want them to do next, and like the next steps for their party. So, but it is on YouTube. You can just find text replacement for whatever kind of phone you have. And also one of my tips is if you are doing a lot of virtual parties, don't feel like you need to like live by your notifications. That will drive you crazy, especially if you run a lot of parties. So one thing that I've learned to do is just check in on my parties like once a day when I have a chance, and just kind of scroll through them, see if there's any questions. But I like to check in and just go through each party at a time. And so don't feel like you need to do every single notification though, because that will drive you crazy if you're trying to stay up to date with all that, especially if you work during the day or you're trying to hang out with your kids. So also, I like to keep an open Word document, or I have a Mac, so I just have my notes open at the bottom all the time of all the wording that I use for my hosts in parties and everything that I use a lot. I just have all the wording in paragraphs in there. And so that way when I'm setting up a party and I'm sending her like the wording of what to do next, it's all in there, and I can just copy and paste it into a message for her. So anything you find that you're using a lot, save yourself that time so you don't have to like go all over the place and try to find it. It's already in one document for you, all the stuff you're using for your parties. Also, involving your family is a great way too. So maybe if you have older kids, have them take a night to cook, teach them some things, have them like, if they like to be in the kitchen, utilize that. And then, kids of all ages can help with family chores as well. Even toddlers, you could have them go empty trash cans or things like that. Have older kids mop or clean the bathrooms, vacuum. My kids all put their clothes away. Like I'll wash all the clothes, but then we just have laundry. We just have a folding party is what we call it. And we just dump out like 5 buckets of clothes, and I don't care how their clothes look as long as they take it upstairs, they put it all away in their closets. It's not going to be perfect, but I don't want to do it, so I just let them do it. They take it up there, and then it's less for us, and it's not as overwhelming. So it empowers them to help in the family, and it makes your life easier. So any little things like that you can do to help make your life easier. And also like for the summer, like we have daily charts to earn their iPad time. And so that chart just has anything we want them to get done during the day, tidying their room, their attitude is on there, their reading time, their daily chore of our choice. And once those things are done, then they get some of their, electronic time. Also identifying your pockets of time. For me, it's during nap. Really like I get about 2 good hours a day to work. But, I did start my business when I had a full-time job. And so I'll talk about that as well. But you better believe that when my kids are scheduled for their nap time, like I am working and they are going down at that time so I can have my work time. That way, what I can really do is it allows me to spend time with them in the mornings, do fun stuff with them in the mornings, because I know I'm going to have that block of time to get stuff done. And then I know during that time, I'm going to be super efficient and I know what I'm going to do and the order I'm going to do it in. So, and then when I was working full time, I would use my pockets of time, like on the drive home. I didn't have a lunch break as a teacher. You're like eating in like 10 seconds and then you're on lunch duty. So that doesn't really work. But I would use my time home on my drive home to do host coaching, return calls on speaker. Also, I would listen to like some trainings or podcasts like on the drive to work when it's too early to talk to people. So I'm still kind of training then. But it could also mean if you do get a lunch break, maybe taking your lunch break 1 or 2 days a week and doing some time to work. I also have some team members who actually go into work a little early and they get some work done before they actually clock in. So they're, lining stuff up for their day and they're doing that work before they clock in. I also work at night because I'm a night owl, but if you are a morning person, maybe, consider getting up an hour earlier or staying up an hour later, once or twice a week just to handle some non-phone tasks, posting thank yous on your parties, updating your virtual template, setting up your Facebook groups, anything like that. So just using that extra time that you can, not every single day you have to get up early, but just working with your schedule. You guys know the time you need. So these are just little places where you can make, some allowances in there. During your nap time as well, don't use that time to be cleaning your house because that's time you could be connecting with people. You can do those things after, when it's too late to contact people and stuff like that. So also, those of you that have kids and work your business around them and stay at home, you can choose to carpool, trade childcare. I used to do this with one of my directors. We were both in Pampered Chef. We both had young kids. And so like she would take mine one morning, and I would take hers one day. So we each got like a full morning that we could work. And then those kids were having fun too. And so it gave us each a free morning to be able to work. Also, I'm a huge fan of quiet time. So even with older kids who don't necessarily nap anymore, I don't care what they're doing, but they're in their room for an hour in the afternoon, doing whatever they want, reading a book, coloring, resting, playing, whatever they want to do, as long as they're in their room. And that's also, it's good for both of us. So, especially during the summer. So, also, you could have a sitter to get the kids from school. Like I'm in a town where we have to drive all over to take our kids to school. So I'm in the car a lot, typically an hour in the morning, typically an hour in the afternoon. So one of the things I'm looking into is our routine's going to get crazier in the fall and have a lot of dead time in there. So I'm looking at hiring somebody to get my older kids from school and just bring them home. So I don't have to be hanging out for hours waiting for them to get out after my younger ones get out. So basically just some things like that. Having a sitter come to your house once or twice a week while you're there to play with them. So you get to work. I use an older lady who really loves kids and they love her, or you could use like a young teenager and train them, because if you're there, then you can use that as kind of practice. Also, the gym is my best kept secret. And a few days a week, I will drop the older ones off at school, and then they give us like 2 hours to be able to have our kids in childcare. So I will sit down, have some coffee, follow up on some emails, follow up on checking in on some virtual parties. I bring my computer with me and I get to work there, and then I get my workout in as well. And the kids are happy and I am too, because I get a little bit of a breather because my husband travels a lot. So a lot of times it's just me with everybody. And so I get to cross stuff off my list as well. So I love like the gym time. And so that's our routine a couple mornings a week as well. So basically if you can automate something, automate it. If you can delegate it, delegate it. I'm sure you guys are hearing that. Now, a lot of people ask, how do you balance your business and your life? Well, I think I heard this from Donna Landy maybe, but the answer is you don't. You don't want it to be perfectly balanced. That's not likely. We don't want it to be balanced. We want it harmonized. And that's going to look different for everybody, because we don't want our business to be the exact same amount of time we spend with our family. We really want to involve our family in tracking our progress for goals and asking them to help you stay on track with your phone calls, your show schedule. They are going to be delighted to be your boss and learn some amazing lessons about goal setting and achievement. And have the Disney tracker on your fridge so that they can color it in. They are really going to push you to make sure you're working, probably even more than you're going to push yourself to earn that Disney trip. Enlisting your family's help can really help you, especially when they're going to enjoy the rewards as well, and really making that connection between your business efforts and the effort and the benefits that they enjoy. For example, Mom's Pampered Chef business paid for your horse camp this summer. Also slave labor. I love slave labor. So I give extra iPad time as an extra treat for them helping me with the business. They will actually like stamp catalogs or unpack a freezer workshop for me, which is great for them learning how to sort things and read. And so basically I give extra iPad time or an extra piece of candy for them, helping me with something. Kids can stamp catalogs, assemble host packets, even make banners for your virtual parties. I've had my daughter make banners before. Well, she'll take the banner. I've trained her how to use WordSwag, and she types in the host link in the banner and stuff like that. So I've had her do that, and I pay her like $2 an hour to do that, or whatever. Maybe it's $2 a party. I can't remember. Anyway, so their not so perfect work is great advertisement for the benefits of a home-based business. And most kids love to help, and they really want to help mom work too. Now, if you do hire a babysitter for something like to go out with, with somebody, then offer to pay an additional $2 an hour after the kids are asleep for the sitter to like stamp stuff or even do household chores like laundry and things like that. So working your business smarter, not harder, is also very, very important to me. So I really want to maximize my results on my parties so I don't have to spend a lot of time looking for bookings. So really what I do to secure a steady stream of bookings off parties, I really like to train my team to go for at least 3 bookings per party. Now we're not going to get that on all of them, but some we may get 4 or 5 off of, and some we may get 0, but our goal is at least 3 off of each party. And we do that by offering a free product to our hosts for 3 bookings and really marketing that and reminding them a couple times during the week and sending a really nice message to active guests, thanking them for being on the party and being so much fun, inviting them to host their own party and get spoiled. I do a lot of those messages during the week. We like to go for no by messaging a lot of guests because it works. And then I do get a lot of not right now. And then I say, well, do you mind if I follow up with you in the future? And they say, sure. And I say, okay, I really don't want to be one of those home show stalker ladies. Nobody likes those people. So when would be a good month for me to follow up with you? So I'm getting their permission to follow back up with them. Let me see here. I also like to have on parties, online parties, where people private message me an answer to a game. So that really opens up the communication line as well. My best booking tip is to have your host help you. So like I mentioned, I give them a gift when they have those 3 parties booked, but I don't give it until that 3rd party, of course. A lot of hosts will work to ask their friends so they can get that free product. Something about recruiting is I call it the rule of 5. So I like to really make it a point to try. Now, I'm not perfect at this, but I like to try to reach out to 5 people on the parties that I'm doing, each party, to really, like those interactive people, to really reach out to them and let them know how awesome they've been as a guest, and just to ask them and say, hey, this may be out of the blue, but have you ever considered trying on the apron and doing virtual parties like this? And so I really like to try to reach out to 5 people per party about that. Also, I have a game on my parties a lot of you probably use where it's like the Ask Me Anything game about being a consultant. And so I have a message that I send them when I see people are on there, and it just says something like, hey, quick question, since I don't know if I don't ask, you had great questions on the Ask Me Anything game, or you've been fabulous on the party. You clearly love Pampered Chef. I would love to have you on my team. So I was curious if you were planning to get tickets, which is completely fine, or if you could use some extra money by getting paid to work from your couch on Facebook for a few minutes a day. We have a great special going on right now where you can get started for just $109 and you get $450 worth. And then when you do your first couple parties, you can get up to $250 in free products of your choice in your very first month. Do you have any questions about it? I look forward to hearing from you. So something to that extent. I also have a One Day I Want to Be a Pampered Chef Facebook group, so I can add my interested people in that group, and I post the monthly promotion and things like that. Not a super active Facebook group, but just as a place for me to kind of put people in there and kind of have a place to follow up with them as well. All right, so I am going to turn it over. We are going to have some time for questions at the end, but I'm really, really, really excited to introduce our guest speaker to you. So Lynn Curlis is a director on my team who joined just 6 short months ago. In her first 5 months in her business, Lynn promoted to fast track and has a team who sells on average $20,000 a month. And she is actually getting ready to promote her first director and promote to advanced. Lynn earned Disney in a few short months and has also earned excellence in sales, which is $55,000 from January through May. She actually had like $67,000. Lynn sells on average about $15,000 a month and works full time. Lynn is the prime example of someone who has implemented some great systems to fit Pampered Chef in around her full-time job and her family. So Lynn, thank you so much in advance for sharing with us. Are you on the call and you can jump in and unmute yourself?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Great. Hi, it's so nice to meet all of you, and to be asked to speak was very, very flattering, so thank you. I joined 6 months ago completely on a whim. I was a guest on a virtual party that Cammie was running, and I was guilty of asking questions about being a consultant to get tickets and win a prize. And then I started to think about it, and I do sales professionally. That's my full-time job, my career. I do sales for an education company called Frontline, and we have different HR solutions for school districts to use to manage their people, time tracking, sub-arrangement, applicant tracking, professional growth. And I've been with the company for 13 years, in sales for about 15. And the company's been bought out a few times. So throughout 2018, it was a little bit of a roller coaster for me. The company I'd been with for a while got bought out. I was learning to sell new solutions in a brand new way with a new team and a new manager and a new commission structure. And it was a lot of up and down through 2018. And my sales were okay, but not where they'd been previously. And I was just feeling not completely fulfilled or proud of myself, I guess. And when this came along, I'd done direct sales before with Creative Memory scrapbooking a long time ago. And I would host Norwex parties for my friend who's a consultant. And I just loved the challenge of how high can I get my sales? How much free stuff can I earn? And my sales skills certainly helped with it. And I thought to myself, I love Pampered Chef. I've used the products for years. Hadn't been to a party before this virtual one in December for probably 10 years. And I know the products are wonderful. They sell themselves. My big thing was, from when I did Creative Memories and now I'm married, I have 2 young kids. So it's not just about me. It's very rarely about me anymore. And I also, with my sales job, needing a lot of my attention and being a little up and down. So I talked to my husband about it, and I asked Cammie some questions. Was there any financial risk? Is this something I could just do virtually? My Norwex consultant had asked me to join her team, but I was not up for taking 3 hours on a weeknight or a weekend in a block to be away from my family. She was doing that as a teacher with 2 kids. I don't know how she managed, but that was not my thing. So my first question to Cammie was, what's the financial investment, and can I do everything virtually? I'm on Facebook, guilty of that too, like everybody else probably. It is a time suck sometimes. So if I'm going to be on Facebook anyway, I know and love Pampered Chef. If I could earn some free stuff, then great. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, what if I could actually be good at it? And that would kind of be my thing. That's not about my kids. That's not tumbling. That's not baseball. That's not my full-time job that gives us health insurance and pays the mortgage. This is just for me. It can be fun. It is zero pressure. I can make it what I want. I can do it when I want. And if I'm good at it, I'm going to feel good about myself, about my sales skills, about my ability to be successful at something, and it will fulfill me. And so that's why I decided to join and give it a try. And Cammie asked me to find 4 friends in the first 4 weeks who would host a party for me. So my plan was, I'll do a party a week that first month, because she put out there how I could get free stuff if I sold $1,250 in sales. So anything free, I was all over trying to figure it out. And it was just kind of a hodgepodge going at it the first month or 2. And then asking people to book shows. I had no problem with that at all. I love hearing no because it gets me closer to the yes. That's sales. That's no problem. And a lot of people said yes, surprisingly enough. And I haven't seen a Pampered Show chef in years and years. I'd love to. So she kind of Cammie helped me figure out, well, how would I do 2 shows a week? Is that going to be too much time away from my family and the kids? And I started looking at how organized she is. I'm a very organized, structured person. I'm a list girl. I'm a paper, feel it, touch it, smell it, note taker too. And I am very optimal and efficient when it comes to the computer with Facebook and whatever. So I tried to figure out how can I use that and ramp up my show schedule, but not necessarily have any more time taken away from my family. And as it got bigger, I did have to put more time into it. But I've found ways to balance and found ways to optimize using the text replacement, copying and pasting the same wording to hosts, the same messages to guests about booking, the same blurbs to hosts about becoming a consultant, kind of repeating the same comments on posts, or doing the same GIFs during some of the games and such. Looking for those key posts during the party template where it can engage me with them. We can start a dialogue. We can do messaging. That opens it up so they're going to get my next message when it comes to asking about hosting, and trying to find those little pockets. But I knew right away that my full-time job was my first priority. My family, my kids are my top priority, above the job actually. And this was going to be a hobby. It is a hobby. It's a fun side gig, but I absolutely love it. It's been wonderful to me and for me. And because I asked a couple of my hosts if they wanted to do this, they said yes and came on my team. Nothing I wanted anything to do with either, but they did. And where I had a turning point was hearing Katrina tell me, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. I have 2 young kids. This is me time. And I have student loans, and this is going to help me pay them off. I didn't come in this because I had bills to pay. A lot of people do. And I didn't even think about that. I did it for fun. I did it to fulfill myself, to feel successful. I did it so that I would have something of my very own and I could make whatever I wanted out of it. But now I've been able to touch and reach and impact others who had a financial need, who needed that self-reassurance of their value the same way that I did. So the fact that I did open myself up to this and try and go out of my comfort zone and stretch a little bit from what my original plan was has allowed me to make impacts in their lives like that. And that's more meaningful to me than almost anything else with this. So I do have to be very organized, very efficient. I have to block out my time. I was guilty at first about notifications and trying to reply to everybody right away, or letting Facebook suck me in during my workday here and there. And I've had to be more disciplined about when I'm checking my parties. Tuesday, I'm building out my parties for the next week. I'm messaging the hosts. I'm getting them ready. I'm checking in with them Thursday. Saturday, I'm kicking off new parties and I'm closing out old. So Saturday is a bigger block of time and Tuesday is a bigger block. In between there, it's spending 5 minutes per party, scrolling through, commenting, engaging, and finding those nuggets where I can message them about booking. They're prime for that. Let's ping them with a message. Trying to do 2 thank you posts a day on my parties, not every time someone orders, but block those out. Just be a little bit more compartmentalized. And I do multitask. I'm very guilty of that. And I was finding myself trying to multitask on my phone with Pampered Chef and to my day job. And I've had to make sure that I don't do that so I can focus on my sales and I can focus on frontline during the day. And then I'm actually doing better at Pampered Chef when that's all I'm focusing on there as well. The kids go to bed. My husband and I chat. We usually watch a TV show together. And I'm on the computer at the same time, or I'm doing that for a half hour, then he and I have time together. So I haven't really had it impact. I'm at all my kids' activities. I haven't missed anything necessarily. It's just finding those pockets of time like Cammie said. So you can totally work full time. This month I should hit about 16 to 18,000 in sales for myself. I'm looking for my team to hit about 24. Katrina's growing, trying to become a director. So we have, I started with 1, 2, now we have 8 people on our team. So I'm trying to also coach and train and encourage them along with running and managing and balancing my own business. But my last paycheck was $5,000 for the month of May. And that was without the fast track bonus. So that's like a $60,000 income for me doing this part-time. So I will take that money and I'll take the Disney trip, which my kids are all over. I don't think they understand I actually make money at this, but they do know about the Disney trip. And they're very encouraging about me making sure to check my parties. So I involve them. My husband's very supportive as well. He knows this is making me feel good about me, and that's actually helping me in my day job to be better at Frontline too. So both are kind of balancing and supporting each other and impacting in positive ways. But Pampered Chef, Cammie, has been a complete blessing to me, and I've loved the last 6 months, and I just can't imagine where it can take me in the future. That's it.
Thank you so much for sharing, Lynn. I love that. All right. Oh, Lynn, we have a question for you. So how are you overcoming bookings, or would you share some like booking wording with us that you found has worked?
Sure. I recently signed up for the Rise to Success. I think there was a webinar that we did, and the host there talked about the rule of 2-2-2. So 2 days after, 2 weeks after, 2 months after. Now, during the party, if I have a video for the quick cooker, rock crock, stoneware, I have 3 different videos at least put into that party scattered throughout. And I ask them to comment rock crock's rule or done when they're done watching those videos. And then that triggers me to say on the party in the Facebook group, thanks, tag so-and-so for watching the video, sending you a quick private message, what Cammie taught me to do. And then I private message them and say, hey, feel free to say no, but did you know that you could get that quick cooker for 50% off or even free by hosting your own party? It would be fun and easy, just like it is for Tracy. And she would get credit for it too. So win-win. What do you think? Or can we do that June 29th or July 7th for you? Giving them 2 options, not yes or no, do I want to, but keeping it an open-ended question. Pick one of these 2, kind of an assumptive close thing. So I'll put those messages through on the party, during the party. Part of my closing process when I'm closing a show out is to go through and message everyone who placed an order, thanking them again for ordering. The party's been closed, so your order should arrive in 1 to 2 weeks. I'd love to hear what you think of the products after you try them. Here's the link to my VIP group and a meal planning group I do, and I'd love you to join. And then I'll try to end it with some sort of a question. What product are you most excited to get that you ordered? Something where they'll reply to me. And then I'll usually kind of go back and forth. Well, did you get this that goes with that? No, I couldn't get that right now. Great. What about hosting your own party? And then you could earn that for free. So I've been trying to do more where I'm getting them engaged to go back and forth, because I was finding if I just blast messages out, they don't see them. We're not friends on Facebook. So they weren't going through. So if I can ask some sort of question, the very last thing in my message is a question they feel responsible to answer. And now they're getting my messages. So I know they will read it when I do ask them to book.
Awesome. And then one other question, basically, like, what are you recommending for new consultants? Like, what kinds of words do you use to help them get started with getting their bookings? What have you been finding that works?
So I've really been trying to talk to them about 4 bookings in 4 weeks. So to get your business started off on the right foot, to get kind of a strong beginning to this, which I really want you to have. I think this is going to be super exciting for you, and I want it to take off. So think of 4 people in your life who you know want the very best for you, love you, support you, family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, someone from church. Think about all your social circles, everyone that you come into contact with virtually or in person, and just pick 4. I'm sure there's tons. Pick 4 of those people that you know would help you if you asked. There's no risk to them. They're just letting you practice. They're a guinea pig. And just tell them that. I just need someone to practice on. Can you do me a favor and just host a virtual party for me? Be my guinea pig and help me get started. And that's what I did for my first 4. I also did my own launch party and welcomed people to my home, because I love to throw parties and have people here at the house. And we cooked, and we did kind of a cooking show. And I had 5 people book off of that as well. So I had, in the beginning, I probably had 8 solid parties to start with. And I've never gone back to that original pool. All my parties from here on out, I'm doing around 8 or 9 a week, have grown from there.
Awesome. And then when you were building your business, like, did you do anything differently to kind of get even more and more parties? Like, how did you get to increase your show schedule so much with virtuals?
Yeah, the first few, I really just let people tell me if they wanted to host a party. I asked, but I wasn't all that aggressive about it. And the more I did and the more I saw, oh, I can earn more Pampered Chef dollars if I do another $12.50 in sales in the first 90 days. That was my biggest motivator, honestly, that first 90 days. And I figured, after that, if this flies, fine. If it doesn't, that's fine too. But I'm going to get as much free stuff as I can between January and April. And so I was a little bit more aggressive about asking people to book a show because I really wanted I wanted the free Pampered Chef dollars. But it got me kind of in the habit of asking every person that buys and coming up with the messaging that, Cammie, you gave me that I could send afterwards or during, just trying to make sure if there's any potential sales lead, booking lead that I can work, that I'm making that outreach, I'm answering that question, I'm feeding that need, I'm digging deeper for what they might want or could open up to. And like you said as well, if they say, oh, it's such a busy time, summer's crazy. Oh, I totally get it. Summer's crazy for me too. How about if I reach you in August? Does that work for you? And then they can say, oh, I just, it's not really my thing. Or they'll say, yeah, call me in August, or actually call me in July. I'll be fine in July. Great. And I've got my planner book and I go to the first page of every month. That's just a notes page. And I start making bullet point lists of all the people that I'm going to call and say, hey, you asked me to reach out to book in July. And I'll be doing that next week because my June now is full. So I'm starting to book for July. So I'll ping them, remind them of our conversation. You said you wanted to book for July. Does the 7th or the 14th work better for you? And give them 2 date choices, or 6 or 13, whatever it is. But make sure I always go back. And if they put me off again, I'll push them back out. But I always have kind of a future lead list to build off of. So just not letting anyone go until they flat out tell you, no, I never ever want to do a party. Please stop. I don't, it's not going to be my thing. Then I'm not going to contact them again. But until they tell me no, I'm going to keep asking.
Awesome. Thank you. I love it. And then last but not least, any words that you're recommending for your consultants to help book their shows this summer? Any specific booking words?
I'm giving them the same wording to use. A lot of them use my same template or are putting the same videos in. So if they watch the Rock Crock video and say Rock Crock's rule, if they post done to the quick cooker, if they comment on what piece of stoneware is their favorite or they think they'd like to have, then I've kind of trained them to send them a message, tag them in a post comment. Thanks so much for that, sending you a message, and then giving them that same wording to send over. And they also have, I did some training videos. I used Zoom and I recorded myself closing out parties so they would know exactly what I do to round it out, close it out, consultant corner, email the host, private message, and prospect for bookings. So they have Word docs of mine with all the wording on it, like you said, that you keep to copy and paste. They've got the training videos to go back and watch, and have just really kind of laid out my whole week long, what my life is like in a week, and just encourage them to replicate that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I think we had, and we really appreciate your time, Lynn. Thank you so much for your time to share all of that. You are fantastic and a rock star, and we're so blessed to have you. So
thank you.
And I can't wait to meet you at a conference, actually. Me too.
I
know. So there were a couple questions in the chat that I was going to answer real quick, and then we'll open the line up to questions. And so basically, one of the tips that I have too, I love to maximize our double free months, as I'm sure you guys all do. And so one thing that I've been really doing is the end of June, all my June parties starting on the 29th, like I'm making sure that they start in June with a June date so I can fill up that first week of July super, super full and get a lot of bookings in that first week. So they're early bookings with that double free money special. So that's one thing that I really like to do with the double free money, is kind of carried into that first week of July to really help get that beginning of your month really solid booked. People were asking about the block parties. So all of you know the current madness going on with Facebook. So one thing that I decided last week, I know a lot of people have been doing this, are block parties or mega parties. So I've been running 3 parties and I have 5 hosts in each party. So basically Facebook is seeing me post a lot less because there's only 3 parties posting, but there's more hosts, there's more people in them. I'm loving this. I'm like, why did I not switch before? So it's working for now. I know Lynn's getting ready to try that as well, well, but it's just an easier way. It's been a lot like a breath of fresh air this week because I don't feel like I have to check in on 15 parties. Like that's time consuming. And so, and also like, I think it's more of a community thing. Like Facebook wants us to kind of get into that. And so I've loved doing the block parties. Each person of course has their own link in there. And I just have the host take turns posting pictures. So they're posting every other day, posting something in the block party, but it's been a ton of people seeing a lot of interaction. So it's been really fun. So it's definitely something that, you know, if you want to give it a shot, like it's really fun. And I'm really excited about this new opportunity with the workarounds that we have to do with Facebook and everything. So, all right. So let's open it up for questions if anybody has anything.
Where do you get the information on the block parties, Cammie?
Well, so it's basically just you're running your same party, but you're just having multiple hosts in that same party, and you're having them add all their friends into that same party. So I'm not really doing anything different. It's just basically combining a couple parties into one.
I don't get it.
Yeah, not a whole lot of difference with that. Just basically running my same party, but there's like 5 hosts in that group and all the friends they all have their same party group that they're adding their friends into. And it just says, you know, in the announcement post, welcome to our party. Here's everybody's links. And then during the party, it says basically like, you know, if you're ready to order, message your host who invited you, your friend who invited you for her link, or scroll to the top for the announcement post with the links in there. So that way everybody has their own. And I just have my host paying attention to if there's comments and questions about, hey, I need your link, then she's sending that person her own link.
Okay.
So everybody's still getting their own party, their own sales, because they're using their own links. And so it's basically not much different. You can call it a block party. I've called it Quick and Healthy Meals Pampered Chef Party, June 15th through 23rd, but you can call it block party, whatever you want. I put a little star at the end of it. So one has 1 star, one has 2, one has 3. And so I know which group it is to make it easier.
For my, the block party I have coming up, I have 8 that are starting Saturday. So I did 4 and 4, and I put them all in the same private message group, but I told them team 1 are these 4 and team 2 are these 4. And whichever team has the most people join can get their group numbers the highest. I'll give each host in that team a season's best cookbook with their order. So like friendly competition between team 1, team 2, which team can invite the most people, can get the most people in those groups, just to give them some incentive of trying to get those numbers up and to work together.
I love that idea. That is great. And I was just even thinking, because I always give a prize when they post that daily picture for me anyway, but with that idea, you could just use that incentive. I love that, like the little like competition, and that's very awesome. And I do have in my little group chat, everybody's in there, and every day there's a different, like 2 pictures to post. Okay, our fun party pick posters for today are these people. So if you see your name posted or tagged, post this picture, and I have a little arrow down. And so basically, like I have 2 posted a day, so that way in case one of the hosts is MIA that day and doesn't post their picture, at least there's something being posted. But it kind of alternates, so people aren't having to post something every single day. So let's see. I'm just looking over the questions.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure, jump in. Yes.
How many, when you're doing these block parties, you've mentioned anywhere from 2 to 4 or 5 parties in one. Have you found a magic number that works best?
Good question. So I have done one with 2 and I've done one with 5. I think it's all your style, honestly, and your preference. I haven't done it long enough to have a good answer for that. I like to have, honestly, more than 2 in there, because I found with 2, there wasn't a ton, as much interaction as these ones this week. I mean, I'm getting 50 responses on a post this week and like 100 people seeing it. So I'm having some that are like really, really well seen and a lot of activity on that. And so, but with the 2, it just wasn't as much. But you have to be careful to not keep it too overwhelming and like too much information. So I think probably 4 or 5 is like my cap of how many I would put in one. Yeah, great question.
Okay, so I think we are just about wrapping up. I did want to make a comment. First of all, I just want to thank Lynn so much for sharing. And you know, with some of the things going on with Facebook, we might want to suggest that you all don't try and friend her and put anybody in jail. I hate to say those words, but I really think that the better thing to do, we will be in communication, and she can certainly share them with the team, and we can each get them out to our team. So I just don't want you to get bumped with like 500, 1,000 friend requests. Lynn, you may not know what you just got into. So yeah, if you guys could just be patient and get that information through your executive leader, that would probably be best, as with any other information that you may have heard on here. So unless there is a burning question, and I know we did talk a lot about block parties, and actually that is a, you know, it is a concept. You know, don't get overwhelmed by that. It's nothing different than running a virtual party, right? But it is something that allows you to multitask in a sense for the summer. So it is actually a very fun concept. Okay, any other questions for Cammie that are burning?
I did want to say, if you do friend me, don't be like upset and hate me that I don't accept your friend request, because I'm currently at like 5,000 friends, so I can't accept anybody. So I'm not friending you to be rude or anything. So just a disclaimer.
Yeah, no, and that's why I think it's probably best that we don't do that to Lynn too. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining. What an amazing call. Thank you so much, Cammie. Thank you, Lynn, for all of those great tips. And yeah, this is definitely the time of, you know, that we need those time-saving tips and organization tips. So I hope you all took lots of notes. I did. And make it a great week. We will be back again next Tuesday night, and with Stephen Drapowski, and very excited about that. So I hope you'll join us.
Oh, and Donna, we forgot their little call to action.
Yes.
I totally forgot to say that. Oh, give them the homework. Yes, I am the teacher, and I totally forgot that. Okay, your call to action. Sorry, guys, you guys almost got off scot-free. All right, so think about how many parties you want for the rest of June and for July. There's still time to book for June. Don't give up on your June. Still time. Take action to fill those remaining openings. I want you to follow up with 10 guests on each party. Start using those messages that you can send to everybody to really work on getting those bookings. And then don't just drop it at no. If they say no, don't just say, okay, thanks for the reply. I want you to clarify the no. Does that mean no, not now, or no, not ever? So clarify that and offer your closest weeks in first. So if I have an opening for next week, you better bet I'm saying, okay, my next post opening is starting this weekend. Does that work for you? And I just go with that. And most people are like, sure. So that's your homework. 10 guests on each party to get those booked.
And we will, Cammie will send that to all of us. We'll get that posted in our groups too. Thanks, Cammie. Thanks, Lynn. Make it a great week, everyone. Bye.